Welcome back to another explainer. Look, if you're the kind of learner who wants the actual truth instead of just, surface level guesswork, well, you're in exactly the right place. Today, we're going to bring some real enthusiasm to demystifying the real math behind solar power. We're talking about how to engineer absolutely accurate battery charge times. So have you ever just stared at your solar setup and wondered, okay, how long is it really going to take to charge this battery? It's honestly incredibly frustrating, right? You spend your hard-earned money on panels and batteries, only to realize you have absolutely no idea if it's going to take a few hours, a full day, or literally several days to get your system back to full power.
Okay, let's dive into this. You see, there's a massive difference between what we'll call the internet's math and real engineers' math. The internet, well, it loves those overly simplified formulas. But real solar engineering relies on a solid, multi-step reality that actually factors in the laws of physics.
Here is our roadmap for today. First, we'll bust the charging time myth. Then, we'll look at storing energy in the battery, generating power from the sun, and combining it all into the real-world formula. Finally, we'll uncover some crucial hidden variables and safety tips.
All right, kicking things off with Section 1, the charging time myth. It's time to unlearn some of those common online misconceptions. I mean, you see this formula everywhere online. You take a 100 amp hour battery, divide it by a 10 amp charger, and boom, you get 10 hours of charging time. Sounds simple, right? Unfortunately, it's about as reliable as a chocolate teapot. Relying on this basic capacity divided by current calculation completely ignores how energy actually flows. Honestly, it's the fastest way to find yourself totally stranded without power when you need it most.
Moving on to Section 2, storing energy, the battery.
So instead of relying on one broken equation, real engineers use 4 logical steps. We've got battery energy, daily solar output, system efficiency, and finally, time. And this brilliantly illustrates exactly how we're going to get our true charging time. Let's tackle step 1.
Think of it like this. To figure out how long it takes to fill a water tank, you really need to know exactly how big the tank is first, right? In solar engineering, we convert capacity into watt-hours to measure the actual stored energy. So, step 1, battery energy equals battery voltage multiplied by the capacity in amp-hours. Taking our running example, a standard 12-volt, 100 amp-hour battery gives us 1,200 watt-hours of stored energy. That right there is the total amount of energy we need to replace.
Okay, let's shift gears to Section 3, generating power, the sun.
All right, get ready for a crucial truth bomb. A 500-watt solar panel does not produce 500 watts all day long. I know, a lot of beginners just assume panels output that nameplate wattage from sunrise to sunset. But let's be real, the sun doesn't care about the sticker on the back of your panel. In reality, the sun moves, the angle of the light changes, and your panel's output is continuously shifting throughout the day. So, the crucial point here is a concept called peak sun hours. You might have 10 hours of daylight, but that might only yield, say, 5 peak sun hours. It represents the equivalent number of hours per day when sunlight averages full 100% solar intensity. This right here is the number that professionals actually use. And that brings us to step 2. Let's calculate our theoretical daily solar energy. For our running example, let's use a 300-watt panel, and we'll assume our location gets exactly 5 peak sun hours. So 300 watts multiplied by 5 hours, that gives us 1,500 watt-hours per day. At first glance, you might be thinking, awesome, I only need 1,200 watt-hours, I'm making 1,500, I'll be charged in less than a day. But hold on a second.
This leads us right into Section 4, the real-world formula. Let's put it all together.
Now, what's really interesting about this is how physics gets in the way. Real systems just don't operate in a perfect vacuum. Solar panels get hot, and that reduces their efficiency. Your MPPT charge controller? It has conversion losses. Your cables have electrical resistance. Even the batteries themselves aren't perfectly efficient at absorbing the charge. Because of all this, engineers typically estimate an 80 to 90% efficiency rate. So for our calculations, we're going to use a very realistic 85% usable energy rate. That means 15% is just lost to those invisible system losses everyone seems to forget about.
Which brings us to step 3. We take that theoretical 1,500 watt-hours we got from the sun and we apply our 0.85 efficiency factor. So 300 watts times 5 hours times 0.85, and that leaves us with 1,275 watt-hours of actual usable energy per day. Now, that is a much more realistic number you can actually depend on. All right, let's move on and see how this all builds up to step 4, the ultimate equation engineers use.
Charging time in days equals your required battery energy divided by your usable daily solar energy. So for us, that's 1200 watt-hours divided by 1275 watt-hours per day.
And the grand reveal? 0.94 days. Under these highly specific real-world conditions, it takes just under one full sunny day to completely charge that empty battery. Doing the math this way is absolutely crucial. It protects you from expecting a full charge in just a few hours and then, well, being left out in the dark.
Now, for our final part, Section 5, Hidden Variables and Safety.
First off, we need to consider how your starting state of charge impacts everything. Look, you rarely start charging a battery from absolute zero. If your battery is only, say, 50% empty when the sun comes up, you only need to replace half of its stored energy. That effectively cuts your required energy, and therefore your total charging time, roughly in half. So your starting point literally shifts your entire timeline.
Next up, the actual chemistry of your battery is a massive variable. Let's compare traditional lead-acid with Li-Fi-PO4, or lithium iron phosphate batteries. Lead-acid batteries have this absorption stage where the charging naturally tapers off and slows down near the end of the cycle, even if the sun is absolutely blazing. But Li-Fi-PO4 batteries, they behave completely differently. They can efficiently accept higher currents for a much larger portion of the cycle, which essentially translates to a faster charging time overall.
Okay, now we really need to talk about some serious safety risks. When folks want faster charging, a lot of times they think, I'll just add more panels. But there are critical risk points you have to consider here. You can't just infinitely increase your solar wattage. You absolutely must stay within your charge controller's limits. You have to verify your battery's maximum charge rate so you don't overheat it or totally ruin its lifespan. And you absolutely positively must use proper cable sizing and appropriate fuses. Trust me, just adding panels without calculating these limits is a fast track to destroyed equipment, or worse, a fire.
It really boils down to this perfect quote from our source at Solar Circuit 360. Successful solar design always starts with understanding the math behind the system. Doing the actual watt-hour calculations, factoring in your peak sun hours, accounting for system losses, that is exactly what separates stranded beginners from successful off-grid engineers.
So as we wrap up, I want to leave you with this final thought. Now that you actually know the real engineer's formula, how long will your current system really take to charge? I highly challenge you to go look at your own gear, apply those real-world efficiency losses and peak sun hours, and see what the math actually tells you. You might just be completely surprised by what you find. Thanks for joining me on this explainer. And as always, stay curious and keep learning.